Welcome to our one-on-one video series today with Kim Boericke, President, Icon Commercialization and Outcomes Services. Kim, the focus on outcomes is certainly not new, but we are witnessing a greater intensity and focus on this area. What's driving this?
Well, I think the FDA, when they came out with their requirement to have clinical outcome assessments added to all trials, really started it. So I would say probably in 2019, you started to see more engagement with pharma and with medical device organizations to really start adding clinical outcome assessments to their trials in order to really get a better understanding of the patient and how the patient was reacting during the course of the trial. I also believe that the additional data helps support not only registration of the product, but adoption of the product after it's approved. So you see a better and faster clinical uptake of drugs once they reach the marketplace.
Fantastic. And what are a couple of the biggest trends you're tracking right now as we head into 2022?
Well, obviously, decentralized trials is huge. I think the ability to go direct to patient really helps gathering more real-world data, which added to those clinical outcome assessments makes patients more real and diverse. I think the access for patients that have never had access to clinical research is out there with the decentralized setting. And I think that's really just incredible to see that, sparring out of a pandemic, that all of a sudden we have probably some of the greatest advances in clinical research that we've seen over the last 30 years. I mean, you think about the adoption of EDC, it took almost 25 years for it to be standard practice, and we have a pandemic for 12 months where you need to reach patients and be able to be in contact with them for their safety and ensuring that they're compliant on their meds, and we've changed the way we're doing research today. I think that's amazing. I think the other big trend really is around real-world data. We're starting to see a lot more of what I would say phase 0 registries, especially in rare patients, where you start collecting natural history of disease registries and those type of kind of precursors to research and development, which helps the pharma companies be able to really identify patients that they can then enroll in their phase 1 studies when they're ready to start developing. And hopefully what we'll see is a kind of a crunch down on the amount of time it takes to get from phase 1 through phase 3, especially when you're looking at rare diseases. That's been another big trend that we've started seeing.
Kim, thank you so much. That phase 0 that's a new one for me. So thank you for bringing that to light. Certainly natural history is so important as part of the clinical trial process, but there hasn't been a lot of focus on it as of late. So that real world data is really going to be important, especially as you said, in that rare disease space. Do you have an example of where you're seeing that happen in practicality?
So we've got a couple of awards where, due to confidentiality, I can't go into specifics, but there are a couple kind of cooperative patient advisory groups that started running registries in these rare patient populations, and pharma is very interested in that. So they actually buy into that type of registry, and then they add the additional data points that they need specifically for the development of their compounds. We've had 2 awarded in the past 12 months here at Icon, and it's just been amazing to see the uptick in it, and the cooperation that you're starting to see across pharma, where you're still in a competitive kind of isolated environment, but there's sharing of the pooled data that is the common data for the patient in that disease state. So
we can certainly see how that could accelerate clinical trials in that space.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful to hear because these are patients in dire need. So that's fantastic. Kim, thank you so much for being with us today for our one-on-one video series, and thank you for sharing some insights on what we should be looking forward to in 2022.
Thank you very much, Taryn, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and thank you for the opportunity.